Railroading is a word that is problematic in Dungeons & Dragons and all tabletop role-playing games in general.
It is a word that conjures up a plethora of meaning and is often used as a derogatory term to describe certain types of play.
Or as a plague.
One skill a game master should learn is conjuring the illusion of choice. Not to overuse it, but as a tool to shift the game in a better direction. These two concepts are closely aligned, but are not the same.
Before you begin typing away in the argument section, we believe that there is no wrong way to play role-playing games, with one exception. There is your way to play, and there is your group's way to play to have fun. We hope to help you find an intersection between these two.
With quest givers DM Scotty and DMG, you're sure to get hooked on adventure.
Our successful Kickstarter, The North Road, is now available in physical book and PDF form from our website, questgivers.com. All purchases help to make this content a reality. Thank you.
The common concept of a railroad is the dungeon master running the game along a preconceived linear narrative where any choice that the players make makes no difference to the outcome of the game.
Basically, this describes every book, play, and movie ever conceived. What we need to do is to unpack the term and redefine what is good and what is bad.
Works of literature, theater, and film work because there is a well-structured narrative that plays on human emotions.
The human mind has evolved language through storytelling and narrative over thousands of years. The key takeaway here is structure. Structure is vital to a great story. There are no examples of a great story that is completely unstructured.
There is art, which evokes an emotional response. But even then, art is structured through a medium, style, and content. Role-playing games are not movies, they're not novels, and they're not plays. However, they borrow heavily from these mediums.
Role-playing games are a proto-narrative. It is the thing that happens before you tell the story. The story is how you relay the experience of the proto-narrative immediately after it has occurred.
All participants in the game are part of the creation of this proto-narrative. The players make choices and add elements into the game based upon the characteristics of their character, imbuing the game with focal points in the story.
Unlike in books, movies, and plays, role-playing games do not shift perspective away from the player characters. You don't see the perspective of the non-player characters. You never get a juxtaposition perspective to provide an author commentary or a meta commentary. Role-playing games have structure. These are rules and limitations. The game master either creates a world or uses a setting to provide the boundaries of player expectation.
The players agree to be bound by these limitations as part of the social contract of the game.
These boundaries are genre, technology, culture, spirituality, politics, speciation, race, and pretty much any box you can think of. The game happens within the confines of this. The role of the game master is then to create drama. Things need to happen to motivate the players to take action.
The actions the players take are in the form of choices. Choices that once made transition the game from the results of the mechanics of playing to the moments in the story. The story only happens once a player has made a choice. All future choices by other players or the dungeon master are reliant on that single choice to proceed.
Each choice builds the story, which really is the history of what happened in the game, a log of decisions taken by the players. Role-playing games are described as collaborative storytelling. This is not true. They're role-playing games. It's in the name.
Storytelling is not a predictive technique. Storytelling is the retelling of events, whether fact or fiction. In this case, it is the fact of the fiction. Role-playing games become stories once each choice is made. The more these choices matter, the more the players feel they have volition.
The game master also makes choices. This is usually how to create problems for the players to solve using their character's stats and abilities. The GM decides what is behind a door, how an NPC will react, what monster jumps out from behind the bushes. These decisions are calculated for one specific purpose: drama.
The GM cannot make these decisions properly without action from the players. This is where we get to the heart of the issue, the core problem that is labeled railroading.
A dungeon master can ignore a choice made by a player. If you do this, you are a bad DM. Hands down, no argument in the argument section. You are not the type of person who should be running a game. I'm sorry to be blunt.
Ignoring player choice is essentially giving the player no volition. Their choice doesn't matter. So why should they bother playing? This is the same as ignoring the results of a die roll. Why bother rolling the die if it makes no difference to the outcome? That's where the dislike of fudging comes from, right there.
An important part of volition is that the player feels that their decision made a difference. They have to have the satisfaction that their choice mattered in the game. Now, if you are the dungeon master and you have created something that you want the players to get to, you can use the illusion of choice to affect that.
Illusion of choice is not railroading. Illusion of choice does not ignore the player's decision. Rather, use the decision to allow the next event to occur, thus creating the illusion. The choice is vital to creating the illusion, so it cannot be ignored. Ultimately, it doesn't matter where everything ends up, so long as the choices are not ignored and the players feel that their choices mattered.
You can only create an illusion if the player is buying into the choice. You cannot create an illusion if you ignore the player's input. Ask any magician or mentalist.
Creating the illusion of choice is a difficult skill to master. You need to understand how to affect good choices from your players in order to create a good illusion of choice.
The player always has a choice because they can always choose to do nothing or even not to play at all.
The more players buy into your world as a game master, the better you are at handling their choices.
The best games are ones where there is a good scaffolding of drama, an effective use of carrot and stick problems to motivate the narrative forward using dramatic events in the characters' lives.
A great tool we use to create our modules is How to Run a Successful Role-Playing Game Campaign, available on our website. It provides you with the scaffolding you can use to provide great drama for your players. Purchases from questgivers.com help support making more content and collaborations with people in the community.
On the left is a playlist of similar videos. On the right is our most recent video. In the center, you can subscribe and ring for future content.